Hey everybody, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy. We're just going to give it a sec to make sure I'm live here. So Dixie Belle should be on with us tonight as well, just to help answer any questions. We'll give it a minute for them to come on also. If you guys are just popping on, just say hey, where you're watching from. Here we go. So I think I'm live now. I see a couple people on. So again, I'm Stacy. I'm the owner and artist of New Creations by Stacy, and I'm an elite Dixie Belle retailer here in Ardmore, Alabama at the Rustic Willow. So you guys, I thought we were going to be starting a big piece again today, and doing it with some Terra clay paint, but had a little septic tank issue this weekend, so I've spent the entire weekend cleaning up, and I just went ahead and prepped this piece a little bit just a few hours ago, actually. So we'll go ahead and just talk about that. I do have a full product list of everything we're going to be using tonight. It's in the description. There's a link to my Facebook page. Like and follow me on Facebook. I posted another little video of the green dresser that we worked on for the last 2 weeks. It's just about done, so I'll be posting pictures of it finished this week as well, so if you want to see that. And then also there is a link so you can find your local retailer on the Dixie Belle page, as well as the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast Group link. So this is just a little antique table, little two-tier table here that we're going to be working on tonight. And like I said, I just prepped this literally a couple hours ago. So of course I started off, cleaned it with White Lightning, bit of a deglosser, gets off all the gunk from, you know, years of it sitting around, polishes, stuff like that. So rinsed it with water after that to get any of that TSP residue off. And then I painted, this is just one coat that's painted on here, and this is, so you guys, I would have used in the navy, but I ran out. So I mixed together Bunker Hill Blue and Midnight Sky, which is a really soft black, and Bunker Hill Blue is blue, to get kind of an in the navy color. And then I also just did a little blending with some Dusty Blue. And then the green color that we mixed up last week, right here, I'm doing a little dry brushing with this color. And let me show you why, because tonight we're going to be working with the Embroidered Lotus Transfer. So you can kind of see all those beautiful colors in here. And we're going to be putting that on the top. So like I said, this has one coat of paint on it so far, that's it. And I didn't need to put any boss on it. If I would have been going with a light color, I definitely would have, because this particular wood is most likely a bleeder. But in this case, I didn't need to. So I did do something that I'm not going to say I never do, because obviously I just did it. And I've probably only done it twice before. Hey, Patty, how are you? I used the Voodoo Gel Stain directly over the finish of this piece. I did not sand it or strip it first, which, like I said, I almost always do that. So I did stain the top. I forgot to talk about this, sorry. I stained the top with a mix of Au Natural and Bayou Moss. I wanted this green kind of base, very, very light. Oh, hey, Angie. Yeah, it's almost done. I actually posted on my page a short little clip of the drawers inside. I finished those up yesterday, so I just got to stage it this week, and I'll be posting this week. But I did the first coat like this. Did not like it. I like to sand or strip. But that probably didn't sound right. But anyway, that was neither here nor there. But so then I watered down some coffee bean, super watered down coffee bean, and a little of the Au Natural, and I did a second wash over this top. So it really looks more like kind of a faux wood grain, but it is stain. So I didn't get as far along as I liked. I wanted to have this tape off so we could go right into the transfer. And hopefully I did not tape it too soon because like I said, I did this very quickly. But the good thing is, I'm going to drop you down too so you can see while I'm talking. But the Voodoo Gel Stain dries so quickly. So I'm hoping that everything turns out okay there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a second coat on this inside trim so I can take off the tape and we can go ahead and work with the transfer. So like I said, I'm just going to get you guys in. Oh, thanks. Let's see here. Yeah, you guys, I don't know. So it turned out it wasn't our septic tank this weekend, but everybody thought it was. And it happened Friday morning. It took them until 10:30 Friday night to fix it. And we could not use any water. And it was, if you've ever had a septic tank issue, it's apparently just what it was like. And it was just disgusting. Oh, anyway, sorry, I digress. So Monday's actually going pretty good for me after this weekend. How about you guys? And things could be a lot worse. So this is the mix of the Bunker Hill Blue and the Midnight Sky. I'm just going to use it out of my jars here because I'm probably going to do something not the brightest, but I think I'm just going to set them right up here. If I drip a little on here, I'm not really worried about it because I think I'm going to end up going back through and doing a little bit of kind of aging, distressing, maybe a little dry brushing over this. So we're going to start off using a round small. And on the first coat, I did use the same brush. I don't know if I'm going to do that on this coat, so I'm just going to grab a couple other brushes. Just another round small and a couple of art brushes because this is a small area. And we are just going to go ahead and do this. I've got my mister bottle. My brush is already wet. If it wasn't, I would go ahead and soak it. Oh, I'm in Alabama. And, oh, hey, Trish. I'm in Alabama, and this is the first place I've ever lived. Actually, I'm going to wet my brush a little bit more. This is the first place I've ever lived that we've had a septic tank. So you guys, I don't want to get this too wet, but I want to have my paint very wet because I'm going to be doing a bit of blending here. And this is my dark blue, but I don't want to spray this. This is all too fresh, and I really don't want it to be too wet and go under this tape, which it may do. And if I have a bad line there, even though I taped it, all I'll do is do some aging right in those corners. It'll cover it right up. I don't really like to rush things, ever. I like to wait the appropriate amount of time before my next coat. But in this situation, so I'm just taking a little bit of dusty blue. In this situation, I'm just trying to catch the highlights. Obviously, I've caught a few parts here. But I'm using the same brush. Just want to bring out those blues that'll tie into that. That'll tie this into that transfer we're getting ready to use here. Once this is dry, I will actually go back over it and do the green dry brushing. It's really just a little bit of a highlight. I'm gonna blend this kind of in. Make sure I like the coverage where my colors are. Up here, I'm just making sure I have good coverage. There's a little bit of wood grain that's showing on this ledge, and I just want to get that. So how was everybody else this weekend? Hopefully some good things. I want to hear a happy story. Let's see here. And I mean, technically, things could be way worse. I'm really relatively happy that that's all it was. Here we go. So just another little bit of dusty blue coming in. Just a little bit of a highlight. Bring a little bit more of this back through. So since I'm using the same brush, it's really, really easy. I don't know that I'll do this the same way on the bottom, but it's really, really easy to do the blending without having to keep it so wet, like water on my piece. And the main reason, if I was doing this a little bit differently, it wouldn't matter if there was water on my piece if I was waiting. But I want to do this transfer tonight, so in order to do that, I don't want to get any moisture on the top where we're going to be working. That could potentially not be dried up. I just want to, like I said, get this inside section done so I can pull this off. And you know, when I first saw this Embroidered Lotus Transfer, I really thought of it on a modern piece. But when I was trying to throw a quick project together, I really kind of envision it looking kind of pretty and bringing the old and the new together on this piece here. I'll probably go in with some of it on the bottom shelf as well, but I've only got one coat on there, so we're just going to put it on the top here and work with the top. Just put in a little bit more of this dark blue. Oh, thanks, Heather. I love the blues and the greens. I try to break out of it every once in a while, but these are definitely my favorites. Just kind of mixing these up. So it has some nice little highlighted parts. Making sure I get good coverage up here. This is my last coat, so I tend to go a little bit slower. Kind of look at all the areas. I want these corners dark. I want that dimension. All right, so that's perfect. We're gonna leave it like it is here. Just kind of look at it. So it's drying at different speeds. That's why it kind of looks a little blotchy, a little streaky, but that'll come off. So we're just going to go ahead and put the paint away, and the moment of truth, we're going to peel off this tape and pray it was long enough. Chattanooga area, hopefully next year. Yeah, so I think, yeah, that's not very far from here. We're just a couple hours from Chattanooga. I've been through there on my way to Atlanta, but I haven't stopped. Where do you live now? Or wait, did you say you were from, hold on. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I couldn't remember if you said you were from, I don't know where I'm getting that from. You guys forgive me. I'm also running on lack of sleep. For some reason, Did you say you were from California? Oh, yes, Southern California. Okay. Thought I made that up there for a minute. Wow, that's a big move. What's bringing you to Tennessee? For our first... Oh, I know. Me either. Gosh. You know what? I do not like the cold. I secretly want to live in the Caribbean. But I'm not moving there anytime soon. All right, so far so good, guys. This is coming up pretty well. I did have a tiny little speck of bleed through over there, but that's not a big deal. It's super easy to clean up. And you guys, on a side note for taping, frog tape is the best, especially it's got a clean release. And I know a lot of them advertise clean release. And this is just my opinion, by the way. I can't say it's the best, but it's really easy to release. So if I'm taping off quick, I always use frog tape. Because really, even though your paint feels dry to the touch, you usually want to let it harden for a little bit before you take it off. Otherwise, or tape it off. Otherwise, you're more likely to have damage. I also actually like to remove my tape when wet if possible, because you're less likely to have like chippy marks and stuff like that as well. And I'm going really slow with this because it has been so quick. So, all right. So let me bring this in a little bit, and I'm just going to be careful not to touch these sides. And I am going to go ahead and use a tack cloth on the top of here because I did do a quick, just a sand with a super fine grit sandpaper to kind of smooth it out, make it feel good. And what I ended up doing with this too, I kind of didn't like the way the stain was looking on here. Like I said, I'm big on sanding first. And I just put this right over the top. So I actually sprayed it, kind of pulled the stain back a little bit in areas and kind of weathered it out some. I'm complaining about cold. I know, right? Oh, that is so true. That's how I felt last week, Casey. Like, I couldn't even really complain because, you know, I'm sure people are getting snow already right now in, like, Wyoming or north there. And, I mean, I'm complaining because it's 50 and cold. Oh, my gosh, yeah. I used to live in Fairbanks, Alaska. And by September, we would have snow, and it wouldn't really melt until like late April or mid-May. So here we go. Here's the transfer. So we're going to go ahead and take this out. And you guys, I'm really, like I said, I'm not prepared tonight not to touch the sides. I know, right? That's okay. I'm probably wearing one of the only pair of joggers I have that does not have paint on them, and I was thinking I really don't want to paint anything, but I didn't get it done. And so far, so good. Because I don't understand people who can stay clean when they're painting. So we've got the Embroidered Lotus Transfer, and it comes in 4 sheets. Normally, I'd lay it on my project here, but the sides are wet. Hopefully, you know what? I should have, my heat gun's outside with the green dresser. Here we go. So this is one of the sheets with the Lotus Transfer. Normally I'd have this cut up in a plan, but yeah, nothing right now. So this is the second sheet. Thanks guys for hanging out. It's one of those days. Here we go. We've got another second sheet here. And then I'm thinking this sheet on the second shelf, some of these little designs in here. You can almost use these as a border, drawer fronts. That's what I was really initially wanting to do with it. I was standing at Peach yesterday and found a stain spot here. Oh my gosh. That's totally me. It's everywhere. I know one time I had to cut a chunk of my hair out because I dipped it in no pain gel stain when I was bending over. Here's the 4th sheet. So there's 2 sheets that are a lot alike. And I'm either thinking, so I really like this one. Kind of reminds me of a flower or an eye. I'm going to go ahead and cut it out here. Because I'm thinking I might be able to put these 2 together to make almost like a full flower eye. I don't know. And kind of overlap them and maybe some corner pieces or something like that. Or maybe I could bring something in from both corners. I don't know. Kind of depends on how this would fit too. So let me go ahead and cut this other section out. You guys, if you guys have any thoughts on the design here, please feel free. I need all the help I can get tonight. There we go. So next week we'll be working on our big project though with the Terra clay paint that I intended to start tonight. So I kind of want to see, yeah, I do like these in the middle, and see how well it goes with these colors. I'm going to bring some more of this dusty blue and stuff out. I just want to see, actually, you know what? So if I overlap these, actually, I'm going to go ahead and kind of lay it down because these new Dixie Belle transfers have been really, really good about being able to lay them down and then pull them back up. And what I want to see, because you see how it has this lip that comes up in here, I want to see if I can overlap them and make it look natural, or if I need to also layer something in there. I think what I'm going to do is put one side down and then put the other side on accordingly. So that's a lot of the way I do my design too. It's hard for me to, I know a lot of people plan out their pieces. It's hard for me to do that. Well, actually, I plan them, but then I get all these other ideas, and pretty soon it's just a whole other piece. I'm going to kind of measure this because my eyeballing is not the best tonight, and I don't want to mess it up. So I just kind of want to see the length of this. So what's the distance across here? So like 12. So like 6 is center. So actually, that's pretty well centered there. This, I'm still eyeballing to a point. You guys, I'm not that, let's see. So 22, that's 11 and a half. So 11 3/4 would be halfway over. So really it just needs to go about right here. And then, so actually maybe my eyeballing skills are working here. Because really it was pretty much right on point. Ooh, I love this transfer. Hold on, let me just kind of make sure I've got it straight. So let's see what we got here. So this should be pretty much right at 6. It's about 1/8 of an inch off. Let's see if I can move it up. So some transfers do not pull up that easy, especially if you're working on glass. So you want to be more thoughtful when you're laying it out, but all of these new Dixie Belle transfers have been fabulous with that. Okay, so that's actually exactly where I think it should be. I think I might need to raise this up. There we go. Okay, perfect. So now that I've got that done, I really didn't press down hard there. I just kind of smoothed my hands over it. Planned my pieces in my original vision. Yeah, exactly. My original vision, never. I mean, probably not even my second or third or fourth vision, but gosh, these colors are so vibrant. On that white background, it really doesn't bring them out, but this is gorgeous. This is a gorgeous transfer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one side, and I'm going to go just rub this down, and I'm going to keep going. I don't want to start over here now and red towards the middle. I don't want any bubbles. So I'm just going to kind of keep going in this one direction to make sure it's just pretty well attached. All right, so once I've got that done, you guys, I pray I just wipe this off with a cheesecloth. If not, we might see another thing, but it's all a learning experience. All right, so where you're pulling back, I think I'm going to start over here. You want to just rub where you're pulling this clear plastic back, and that will allow it to release a little bit easier. If you notice that a spot hasn't released, then you just want to lay it back down. So like where I'm pulling up here, you can see this one released, but then this little piece right here didn't. Lay it back down and just rub that spot and then start pulling back up. So I started over here because these are a bunch of little tiny areas, lots of connection points. So I wanted to kind of get that out of the way. This piece right here is all one design, all right in here, so it's going to release easier. But those are also the places that you potentially get more bubbles. And I say that, I haven't actually worked with this transfer yet, but that's typically my experience with transfers, that they release easier on those one large design sections. Right now I'm just trying to get the outside kind of done here. You don't want to skip around and do the whole outside because you don't want to push one of those air bubbles to the middle. Then once you get to this flat section, you can usually start going a little bit faster. Just rubbing, hopefully you can tell, I'm just rubbing along the line where I'm pulling off. If I would just rub and then try to pull back, it does not release nearly as easily. Hopefully I can at least get this top section done while we're on tonight. I spent a lot of time talking, but let's see. I'm so late. Yeah, hey Marianne. I know I think I'm going to start going on an hour earlier again. I used to be an hour earlier. And then for the summer, you know, with daylight and everything, but now it feels like I'm going on at midnight. I also get up really early, though. I'm not like a night owl. I am, but it's morning night owl. Sometimes I get up at 2 or 3 in the morning. All right, so now we're coming to the side that has more of those connection points I was talking about. So I'm not going all the way to the center, but I am going to start coming around the sides, because if I get over here and I have just this one tiny little squiggly leaf, I can rip that off easily and it's harder to put back down. So you guys who paint, and continuing on with this conversation with Casey, is it just me, or all of my clothes have paint on them? Even my good clothes, somehow I get paint on. So I actually came a little farther over on this side, and I almost actually just did what I was talking about before, like ripped a little section off. So I'm just being a little more careful. I'm coming in on this outer edge. You can see my pullback is a lot slower than it is in that middle section where it's all one piece. This has a lot of little wispy things and stuff like that on the edge. So that's it. Ooh, I'm loving this transfer. And you guys, actually, I'm really liking this stain now. It just looks really, really nice on here, really vibrant. All right, so now that I've done that, I'm just going to go along the edges, especially where I pulled off over here. Just make sure it's kind of stuck down. Sometimes they won't be, and sometimes if I hit it, I must have done that. Sometimes if I hit it with my, oh my gosh, I can't even think of what they're called right now, finishing pad. And by the way, this is a full-size one. I rarely use them this way. I like to cut them in half so they're just more convenient. And you just want to go over putting a little bit of pressure on it. Make sure everything is attached. While I do this, I usually try to look at it, especially if I have a large section, from different angles, because you can have a little air bubble in the center section here, and that'll cause a problem later. Yeah, it does, Mary. I love how it's standing out. I kind of wanted to wait to put the second coat on this too, because like we were talking about with the design thing, I kind of let that paint sometimes flow with the transfer. So I kind of do it out of order sometimes. All right, so now we're going to come in and let's see, where's that other side? I got, you know, this looks like a flower, but subliminally it kind of reminds me of an eye too. So, okay, so I've totally lost that sheet. Hey, you guys can see it on camera. Please tell me where it is. So I've got this side, I've got this side, and I've got the little small pieces here. Here we go. Oh, it was out of view. All right. So I will say one thing. When you stick this usually on top of another unprotected transfer to layer, it will not pop off as easily. So I want to try to kind of view this without it touching. And if I overlap it, actually I kind of like that. I think that'll look good. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to overlap them. Oh, too bad I wouldn't have cut one of these out and kind of done it alternating. That would have been kind of cool looking. But I think this is going to look good too. So I kind of want to make sure. You know what I don't like? Is it seems unbalanced when I flip it, because I've got so much coming out on this side, but not a lot. See how big that is? And on both sides I have that big section out. I can always just layer in some stuff to even it out, so I think that's what I'm going to do. And that was dead center, so yeah. I kind of had the idea that I might go a little further apart, but I don't like that. I think the centering is off there if I do that. I almost want to pull this off and layer in a leaf coming out 1, 2, 3 down. I do. I want to layer something coming out of here real quick before I put this section on. So normally this part I always have planned out because sometimes I'm a little indecisive. So we're going to take this section here, and this is actually the Voodoo Gel Stain, and it is in, I must have touched a transfer to that section. I see that part didn't pull off. Anyway, it's fine. This is the Voodoo Gel Stain. It's all natural and Bayou Moss because I wanted to pull out some of the greens in here. And then over that, I actually did a super thin layer of coffee bean as a wash. I put a whole ton of water in it. Coffee bean and all natural is the second layer on this. And then I also sprayed it, ran my brush over it while it was drying so I could pull back, you know, in little, I'll bring you in for a close-up, but I pulled back in little sections so you can see that green showing through. But like I said, once we get done with this part, I'll bring you back. All right, so on this side, I've got a bunch of these coming out. So I've got, let's see. Let's do some of these little leaves over here first. Hopefully I have enough time for this. I should. I'm sorry, you guys. I know I've talked a lot tonight. I just, not a lot of work and a whole lot of talking. All right, so let's see. So I said 1, 2, so this is my usual measurement. I actually counted the little stitches in, And I think I'm going to put this coming out. Well, it's not quite laying right. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put this on so I can really see what I need to balance that out. It's easier if you can layer the balance underneath. Just because it looks more natural. Takes a little more work if you come in after. And I'll show you what I'm talking about the balance once we get this on here. But what I'll end up doing is creating a pattern and just cutting around and then just lay it very carefully. And I might be able to do it live on here. I don't know. We'll kind of see. So we're just going to do the same thing here. I'm going to rub it going across. All the same way. Make sure you don't get any air bubbles. So you guys, by the way, if you do get an air bubble, which I have before, but I usually don't. If you do get an air bubble, just using the side to kind of lay that down. If you do happen to get an air bubble, you can actually just take a little pin and pop that. Just stick the little pin in, pop it out, and then rub it down, and then burnish over it. And that will take care of that for you. I have a hard time sitting down and doing this. I need to be standing over it so I can really see where those pieces haven't released when I'm pulling up. So now we're coming into that large section where it's just gonna peel back. You guys, if I miss any comments, I will come back after the live and get those. And by the way, this is a quick little piece, so it should be done pretty quickly. So I should have pictures. I'll probably post pictures of this weekend, maybe. So we're in that spot where we have the whole piece coming across. And I love these transfers because it has so many little different pieces. You can really create so many different designs with them. Last week I used the vintage post, and I love how the inside of that dresser turned out. So we're just making sure that we have all these connected. I'm trying to kind of hurry along to see if we can get a little piece put in there to balance this. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to start working out where I have all my little intricate details. Make sure those are all released. And you do want to protect over your transfers. You want to use a water-based protectant. And I prefer clear coat, but you could use like the Best Dang Wax. You don't want to use gator hide over them though, unless you create a barrier in between. So see, this is what I was talking about. I've got this image, and because I backed it and overlapped it, but see how you can't even tell it was overlapped? It just looks like one big design. However, this side has a bunch of stuff coming off of it. This side needs to be balanced more right in here. I need to put something in here to really balance it out. And as far as the shape of the design itself, I'm going to have some other stuff on the side, so that's not going to be an issue. Oh yeah, and the bubbles. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Marianne. How are you guys doing up there, weather-wise? All right, there we go. So I've got a couple more minutes. Let's see if I can come up. I like how these two vines curl into each other. If I could duplicate something like that somehow. Or what I really should have done was layered one of these under here. That would have taken care of it. Let's go ahead and cut one of these out and see what I can do with it. And sometimes this is the point where I would step back to really kind of see what I want here. That would actually work coming out of there. Definitely should have done this. I should have layered this in prior to. Wonder I can. I'm not sure I really have enough time to do this now. And do I have, so what I normally try to do, well, actually I try not to layer in like this. And I'm looking for, I was hoping I had a Sharpie out here. Well, this isn't quite the kind of Sharpie I like to use, but it's what I have. Let me see if I can do this. So I'm going to do something like this. And by the way, actually I don't like that because I've got that same thing over there. I just need that balance of that size. Maybe. This isn't going to be perfect, I just want to tell you. It never is when I do this. But I can usually kind of make it, I don't think I'm going to make it work here. That's actually, All right, so actually I'm going to do something like I was intending the first go round. I had to look though. So when you layer, you always usually want to do the background first. See. I think I'm going to pop maybe one of these leaves out of here. I just don't want to cover up these leaves on this side because I feel like that's an intricate part of this. So you guys, while I'm trying to figure this out, hopefully I do while we're on still. Just all the colors that we used are in the description. Just a little recap. You know what? Maybe I might actually just kind of loop this here and then stick a couple flowers in there. That should work. So little pieces come off super easy. Oh, but sorry, just a quick recap. All the products I used are in the product description, as well as you can like and follow me on Facebook. The link is there. You can find your local retailer. So you can go in and check out all the Dixie Belle products. And the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast group is awesome as well. Actually, I think I'm going to bring one right back over here this way. Let's see. Not that one. I think I have one that curved up this way. Nope. So I just want to find a quick little leaf that can come right out of this side and go over. A lot of times I do not use the transfers as they come. And this is typically kind of, actually I think I want one of those little swirlies here. That would have been perfect. So I'll show you what I've got here. So this sheet has several little swirlies and branches. Yeah, we're supposed to get frost tonight. Ugh, I'm sure you guys are way past that, but let's see. So we got these little swirlies, and I've got another leaf cut out. I'm going to bring you close in so you can see the stain as well. Let's see. So another little trick. Oh. So this is kind of tricky. I just dropped this face down. You guys, I'm so sorry. You can tell I'm just not together tonight. I was looking for some tape because I didn't want that to stick since I just dropped it face down. So you can pull that back with tape. That also works if you've got a small piece and that corner's hard to get to. And the way I want it to go out, I'm having a rough day today. There we go. I just want this to kind of come out, go right over that leaf. So a little trick there, because if I start trying to rub that down, I'm going to be gouging the wood and everything. So you can actually take one of the clear pieces and, oh, thanks, Marianne. I think it's just how I feel, you know? And frankly, I'm very thankful because things could have been so much worse. I'm thankful that I have a house for my septic tank to back up in. All that good stuff. So, you know, I just get flustered, I think. Okay, perfect. So I got a little swirly. It doesn't, I mean, it's not the exact same thing, but it kind of gives it a little balance on the design. And I may work that out a bit, but I'm going to bring you in close up just so you can kind of see what's going on here. So hopefully kind of really see how those colors come together. And where I was talking about spraying it and pulling it back, I don't know if you can really get in there and see like all those spots. I wanted to give it kind of a weathered look. If you can see that bayou moss kind of poking through over here to bring all these nice greens in. For me, I love those little details. And then you can kind of see where we layered in right down here as well. Just these couple pieces where we overlapped these pieces right here. And I think I still have to burnish this one, but I'll go through and burnish those. But you can really see kind of how you can't even, it's very opaque, this transfer is. You can't see that line underneath where you layer over. Thanks. I should just use that excuse every week. It's always Monday. But you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight and putting up with me. But you guys take care. Have an awesome night and a great week as well. Thanks. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dixie Belle, too.